Shalom and welcome back to the Light to the Nations channel. As promised, I want to share with you a short video about the study of the lesser light, the moon. I have been preparing for a long period of time. This part of the study is the part number 6 of the calendar series, where we are going to talk about the moon. Due to some time constraints, I'm gonna be very specific in some of the information today. I hope to be sharing with you in any time soon the remaining information. And why I want to be short in this video and specific is because I will try to continue measuring the sundial today. I will be sharing in a new video, hopefully tonight, the results over the second sundial yesterday. That was the 4 intercalary day. I was able to see a little bit difference, a deviation of 1 or 2 millimeters, that it could be perfectly related to the effect of the atmosphere on the nail. And I'm gonna talk more about it in the video when I show the results. Nevertheless, I think what I saw in the second sundial is a second witness, is a second testimony to be completely sure that yesterday was the equinox. Anyways, I'll do my best in order to measure the sundials today. I'm not gonna be able to eat the entire days because I need to come back to my normal routine. And so keep me in your prayers today as well, in order to be able to do both things. You know, I have the sundials installed very far away from my place of work, and today I need to come back to the normal routine. So it's gonna be a little bit challenging, but YaHuWaH is with me, so I'm sure I'm gonna be able to do it. So in this video, as promised, I want to share basically some of the important information about the moon. I've been telling you in the previous videos that this year particularly, it's important to witness and to observe the signs in the moon. You know, we have the signs on the sun, also the signs on the stars, and also the signs on the moon. And you know, every year it's important to take a look in the moon, in the phases of the moon, especially when we are just to use it as a witness to define the beginning of the year. But why particularly this year? Because the sign of the moon is going to happen exactly on the first day of the year that this is today. Okay? So I want to move forward and share my screen with you, just to start sharing the information that I have over here. So let's move on. So this is the part number 6, the moon, the lesser light. So the first thing that I want to share with you is our based passage in the scripture that is in the book of Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19. And it says the following: And Elohim said, "Let lights come to be in the expanse of the Shemayim, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the expanse of the Shemayim, to give light on the earth." And it came to be so. And Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. Let me stop here for a minute. We already reviewed and studied in the part 5 of this series about the greater light to rule the day, that is the sun. So it's important, if you have not watched that video, go back check that video. It's important to have all the information about the revolutions of the luminaries to understand how the clock in the Shaman work. So now the focus is in the lesser light to rule the night. This is what we're going to check, and we will see directly from the word of YaHuWaH how we can understand that the moon is the lesser light, and how what is the sign of the moon in order to understand the beginning of the year. So let's continue in the verse 17. And Elohim set them in the expanse of the Shemaim to give light on the earth, and to rule over the Yom day and over the Laila night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fourth day. So we know, and if you remember this, the graphic gives basically the 7 days of the creation week, where we have the 7 days over here. And we already understand, based on this very same verse, that the day is the portion of the sunlight, is when the sun is ruling over the day. That's the definition of a day according to the scriptures, according to the word of YaHuWaH. And we see that the creation was done in 6 days, and in the 7th day YaHuWaH rested, and he separated this day in order to make it Kodesh. It's the Shabbat day. So we know that Elohim created the light in day 1, and the most important thing, and this is critical and basic in order to understand the calendar of YaHuWaH and in order to understand the revolution of the luminaries. We saw it in the revolution of the sun, and also in the revolution of the stars. We will see now in the revolution of the moon. So in the day 4, Elohim created the sun, the moon, and the stars. So the revolution, as we saw in the sun, the revolution of the sun, the cycle of the sun started on the day 4. The same is happening with the moon. The revolution of the moon starts on the day 4, but the moon has a different cycle, it has a different pattern, as is being described in the book of Hanoch, in the book of Enoch. And we will talk a little bit about that in this video. So basically, beside that the moon was created in the day 4, and its yearly revolution starting the day 4, the moon was created, and this is important, it was created to rule the night. In this passage of Bereshit, it's not clear that we are talking about the moon. It's only referring to the lesser light. So how we can understand that the moon is the lesser light? Once again, we need to look for the answers directly in the word of YaHuWaH, our source of truth. So let's do that, and let's look for 2 or 3 witnesses in order to understand that the moon is the lesser light. So let's move on. So we already checked this passage in Bereshit, so let's go for the first witness. And this is in the book of Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 136, verse 7 to 9. Tehillim 136, verse 7 to 9. And it says the following: To him who made great lights, for his loving commitment is everlasting. It's talking about this Tehillah, it's talking about the great lights that were created by YaHuWaH Elohim. So to him who made great lights, for his loving commitment is everlasting. The sun, to rule by Yom, to rule by day, for his loving commitment is everlasting. And the verse 9 says the following: The moon and stars, to rule by night, for his loving commitment is everlasting. We know, and we already checked this in the part 4 of the stars, that the stars are ruling the night. That this is really important. But the word of YaHuWaH is also declaring that the moon was created to rule by night. So when the word of YaHuWaH is telling us in the book of Bereshit that YaHuWaH created basically lights and luminaries on the Shemaim, and he created 2 great lights. It's talking the greater light to rule the day, and we know this is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. We know this is the moon, with the confirmation of Tehillim 136. So let's look for a second witness, and this is in the book of YaHuWaH. Okay, the book of YaHuWaH, this is Jeremiah 31 verse 35, and it says the following. Thus said YaHuWaH, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea and its waves roar. So let me read it again. Thus said YaHuWaH, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea and its waves roar. YaHuWaH is his name. And this is really important that we have the confirmation here in the words of the Nabi Jeremiah. He received this from YaHuWaH because he's saying, thus said YaHuWaH, who gives the sun for a light by day and the laws of the moon and the stars for a light by night. The moon and the stars are the one ruling the night. And in this case, we can understand very clearly that the moon is part of the lesser light. Okay? And the third witness we have in the book of Enoch, chapter 73, verse 1. It says the following. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller light, which is named the moon. So, the word of YaHuWaH doesn't give us space to doubt. It's quite clear in the understanding that the moon is the lesser light. And the most important thing, and this is what I'm highlighting over here, that by understanding that the moon is the lesser light, we also need to understand that YaHuWaH defined that the moon will rule the night. And this is key in order to understand what we are looking for, the signs of the moon, in order to determine the beginning of the year. So why I'm highlighting this point and why this is important? Let me move ahead and let's talk about the moon phases. We know that the moon, and we can see it with our own eyes, in our own experience, that the moon has different phases. Sometimes it's totally obscured, you cannot see it in the sky, and it's getting its light by portion. And I hope to share with you in the second part of this study what is written in the book of Enoch when it's talking about how the moon is getting the light. But in order to be very specific and going straight to the point, we understand that the moon, I'm going to show you this picture, and we understand that the moon has different phases, and there is only one phase that we can see the moon with its entire light. And remember, what was the key? That YaHuWaH defined the moon to be ruling the entire night. And we need to see with our own eyes and understanding which phase this happened. So, and that's this question. In what phase of the moon she accomplishes her purpose? What purpose? To rule over the night. And the purpose is fulfilled during the full moon. It's only during the full moon that the moon is ruling the sky during the night. It doesn't happen in any other phase. It's only during the full moon that the moon is ruling entirely from evening to morning. Is completely visible in the skies. The full moon is in none other phase. It's only during the full moon. So basically, what we need to understand that if YaHuWaH, let me go back to the passage in Bereshit. If YaHuWaH, at the moment of the creation, I'm gonna use this one. At the moment of the creation, when he created the luminaries, and he set the sun, and in this case set the moon to rule, and he said to rule the night. What phase do you think the moon was at the moment of the creation. The first phase of the moon at the moment of her creation, it was a full moon, because during the full moon is when the moon is ruling the sky. So, in other words, what I'm saying, that the revolution of the moon at the very moment of the creation started with a full moon. So the yearly revolution of the moon is always being measured with a full moon. And we have several testimonies in the Dead Sea Scrolls that is talking about that. They were recording, the community of the Dead Sea Scrolls were recording the different phases of the moon, but there were a particular interest in the full moon. And why is that? It's because of what we are reading on the Devar of YaHuWaH, that the moon, her revolution, yearly revolution, starts with a full moon. And why is that? Because at the moment of the creation, in order to rule the night, it was a full moon. And I want to share with you, let me put this aside for a moment. I want to share with you the Stellarium. So basically you can do this by yourselves. This is only one screen. It's a picture of the moon. And actually let me open the Stellarium. Just give me a second. Stellarium is over here. So we can see it directly working. And again, I have been telling you, YaHuWaH created our eyes to see the signs on the Shemaim. But we can use these tools and the information as a reference. We cannot put and base all our understanding on this. We need to use only this as a reference, okay? So here we have, let me put Santiago is the place where I am, and we are gonna check. Let me change just to make it simple to see. Okay, so we have the east and the west, and let me show you what's going to happen on the 20th. And this is a reference. You can do it in any month. You will see exactly the same behavior. Okay, so let me go here, and there you see the moon. Okay, the moon appearing on the east and ruling during the entire night until the sun is appearing again. This is quite amazing. It's basically during the full moon, and let me show you that is the full moon. Basically, this is going, there you have, it's 99%. Okay, so it's basically full moon during the entire night. So how to identify and what's the revelation of the book of Hanoch, how to identify when exactly the full moon is happening. Because if we go to any source, I was taking a look at the information that is being published about when is the full moon. I was seeing information that is going to happen on the 21st of March, other places saying that it's going to happen on the 20th of March. So again, we cannot rely on all this information. We need to rely only in what is being revealed in the book of Hanoch, in the scripture, in the Devar of YaHuWaH. This is our source of truth. And we know that the book of Enoch should be part of the scripture. There's no doubt about that. So what's the revelation that we see in the Devar of YaHuWaH, in the word, in the truth, about how to identify when the full moon is happening. And you can find this in the chapter 78 of the book of Enoch. And this is quite amazing, and I will show to you again on the Stellarium. And this is in the verse 13, chapter 78, verse 13, and it says the following. It's talking about the moon. She becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun goes down in the west. So it's talking basically at the moment of the sunset. Okay, so the moon will become a full moon exactly on the day when the sun goes down, is setting on the west, and from the east she rises at night. So it's talking that as soon as the sun is setting on the west, the moon will rise during the night on the east. But it's not only that, let's continue. And the moon shines the whole night through, till the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun. So what it's talking about? Basically, the moon will become full in the day, or in the night in this case, when the sun is setting, and the moon, as soon as the sun was set, the moon appeared on the east, and is doing the entire movement and ruling the sky during the night, fulfilling her purpose, ruling the night. And when the moon is going to set, the sun is going to appear, and both of them are going to be seen in the sky. You know, if you are living in a place with too many hills, that is my case, it's going to be a little bit challenging because of the hills and mountains to see both luminaries at the same time. If you live in a plain place, most probably you're gonna be able to do it. But again, we need to use our eyes in order to identify and experience all of this. What is saying that the night, when the night is finishing, that we are able to see the moon, full moon, and the sun rising, was that day when the full moon was accomplished. So let me show you Stellarium again. So today we are in the 20th of March. Okay, so we're saying that this is the first day of the year, and I will explain you something in addition that is written in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we see that the sun is ruling the day. Okay, and let me take the atmosphere. There you have. And the sun is setting. Okay, the sun is setting, is already set, is following exactly the description of the book of Hanoch, and the moon is rising on the east. Okay, and the moon is ruling the night, fulfilling her purpose, ruling the sky, and until we see here that the sun started to rise, and the moon and the sun are visible, the sun against the moon. Both of them are visible on the skies, and a new day is starting. This is quite amazing, and you won't have this same pattern in the previous days. For example, if we are looking on the 19th, and even in the 20th, we see that the sun is not rising yet. This is what happened today. I was observing the moon early today, and the moon completely disappeared. And actually, now that I'm recording this video, the moon was completely disappeared and the sun has not risen yet. So it's quite amazing because we can see, and again, we need to experience this with our own eyes. We can see the exact description that is provided by Hanoch in his book that is happening today. So we see in Bereshit that exactly happened on the 4th day of the week. It was the first day of the first year of the creation. So the sun ruled the day in the 4th day. And in that night, This is exactly what happened. The moon appeared on the east, was rolling during the entire night on after that 4th day. And when the moon was going to set and a new day, the 2nd day of the year, was going to start, the sun rises, and both of them were seen in the sky, exactly following the description of the book of Enoch. And this is exactly what's happening this year. In this 4th day of the week, in this first day of the YaHuWaH, the year, we see exactly the same pattern happening. Okay, so let me take the camera out. And what is the next witness we have? And this is in the book of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I have two versions. I have this one, and I have this other version that I have been studying for some long period of time. So we have in the scroll that is the ID is the 4Q320. Okay, this is the calendrical document A, and it's talking about the moon, and it says following in the fragment 1, column 1. It says, to become visible from the east and shine in the center of the sky at the base of the vault from evening to morning on the 4th of the week of the sons of Gamul in the 1st month of the 1st year. So the community of the Dead Sea Scrolls, that we can understand that they were Kohanim, were the sons of the Zadok, that they departed from Jerusalem and they decided to live in the desert. We were discussing this as part of this series. They recorded the movement of the moon, and they're saying that the moon become visible, and it's talking about the full moon become visible from the east and shines on the center. Exactly what happened during the creation week of the skies at the base of the Rakia, the vault, from evening to morning, in the same description we just saw in the book of Enoch, on the 4th day. So on the 4th day in the evening, this is started to happen in the 1st month of the 1st year. So it's talking and describing the 1st day of the year. It's exactly what we are experiencing today. You know, in the next part of the videos, I will share with you what is written in the book of Yoelim, and also we will go deeper in the book of Enoch, because the yearly revolution of the moon is not of 364 days, it's only on 354 days. So every year the moon is moving, separating herself from the sun and the stars in 10 days. Okay, so what we are going to experience today is repeating itself every 3 years. And you can do your own experiments. And actually, I was telling you in other videos that when I started to study and discover the calendar, the moon was one of the witnesses that helped me in order to understand the calendar, because it was the 2 and 3 years ago that I was taking a look on the full moon, when the full moon really happened, and you can see the pattern of the 10, 20 and 30 days separation. And when the 30-day separation is happening is when we see, and what we are going to experience today, that the full moon is aligning in the 1st day of the year. So just to recap and summarize what I'm saying and what we need to look for today in order to be witness of the sign of the moon. It's basically we need to wait for today evening to see how the moon is rising after the sun has set. It's rising on the east as a full moon, and tomorrow morning we need to see how the moon is being visible on the west at the same time that the sun is rising and is being visible on the east. This is going to be the confirmation that today is the first day of the year with the witness of the moon. We already have part of the witness of the sun with what I was showing to you with the equinox. And as I told you at the beginning, I will try to make the measurements today as well. We have the confirmation on the stars with the constellation of Leo on the east during the evening. And also today, the confirmation of the moon. This is what we are looking for, the sign of the moon, as I was describing to you. So do and live your own experiences. Try to search for the sign of the moon. You don't need a sundial for that. You only need your eyes, what YaHuWaH gave to you. So go outside this evening, look for the moon, see how the moon is rising after the sun has set. At the very moment after the sun has set, the moon should start rising on the east. And get up early tomorrow before the sunrise, so you will see on the west the full moon, and wait until the sun is rising in order to see this with your own eyes. I haven't done it before, I haven't studied it, but today I'm gonna do it. And actually I have been following the full moon all these days, so it's important that also you have the opportunity to do it. So do it, share your experiences with us, put some comments on the videos. We need to be witness, all of us, we need to be witness of the wonderful work of YaHuWaH that we see on the creation and the revolution of the luminaries, and in order to understand his calendars, his dates, and how he's setting the times and the seasons for us. So that's for the moment. Keep me in your prayers. I expect to be sharing more videos on the different measurements, hopefully tonight. Also, as soon as I have the confirmation of the moon, most probably in the tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I will be sharing the calendar with all of you. So that's it from the moment. Thank you so much. Toda Rabá, YaHuWaH be with you all. Shalom. Bye.